damn, your voice sounds sexy. You sexy man, you. You're sexy and you got a nice butt.
Yo. This will never be on the radio.
Cagno Radio. Start now.
Episode 55 of Cagno Radio begins right this second. I know I say every week almost the same line, but I just change out the episode number. So I'll start it a little differently. 55 starts now.
Ooh.
Do you see how street I looked?
Yeah, and just to the point. You're like a spear, just to the point.
Thank you for being here, everyone. We appreciate you. Thanks for checking out our podcast. If this is the first one that you've heard, the good news is about an hour for each one. You've only got 54 hours of your time you need to invest to get caught up.
Right. It's simple.
Yeah.
You
do the
go,
math.
Yeah. And if you're going by my math, just start on episode 31.
Is that when you started?
Yeah.
Is it the first one? Well, let me ask you a question.
I think I started on 21 or 31.
Let me ask you a question, and I want your honest answer.
Okay.
Did you never listen to it before?
Never.
So you never listened to it. So it wasn't like you were supporting your friend.
No, not at all.
But it wasn't like you were supporting me and decided that, you know what, I'd like to be on it. How did it come about?
To tell you the truth, like first, I didn't even know, I didn't know you were doing a podcast.
I love where this is going.
And then when my daughters and I started coming out here, in the summer, we would come out. We kind of made it where the girls would come out, we'd swim.
Come out and go swimming, and we have lunch and stuff. Yeah, that's right.
And then you were talking, you say something like, oh, well, so-and-so was over, like, doing a podcast. So I'm like, oh, he's doing a podcast. And, like, to me...
You're like, I wonder if he's still working at 89X.
Right. And to me, you've always been, my friend first and DJ second. And so, so then the summer you're talking about, I was just like, oh, it's just another thing he's doing for 89X.
Yeah.
And then, when you no longer work for 89X.
It's been almost a year, dude.
Yeah.
It's been almost a year. The 30th of March will be 1 year since I worked there. I was thinking about it. It hit me because March Madness is coming up. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But March Madness, like we did that thing called March Madness where we gave away a whole bunch of prizes. But we got canned before it was over. So people were like legitimately emailing me like at, calcagnoradio@gmail.com like, hey, what do we do about the prizing? I'm like, dude, not my gig anymore, man.
Right.
Like, I don't work there.
Right. Screw you.
I'm not trying to let you guys down, but like at that point, that was the least of my concern. Your tickets to see Saliva.
Right. The prizes aren't here in your basement.
Yeah, they're not.
Like, you still have to go to Windsor to get, like, that's property of 89X.
Yeah, like, I didn't, when I left, they weren't like, okay, get out of here. Take your stuff. Also, if you could take the pricing for the March Madness promotion,
right,
you could take those with you. Just make
Can
sure
you please distribute to the first 89 callers? Every day, you're the 10th caller. Like, your wife calls you like, Cal, I need you to pick up some milk. You're like, hey, you're the 10th caller. And you give her, like, a sweater, like a Blink-182 sweater.
You call.
Yeah.
Hey, what time are we coming over? Good news.
You're like, bing, 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 bing,
good news. You're the 10th caller. How's it feel? What's your name? Where are you from? You're like, Joe. I'm from Royal Oak.
Yeah.
You know that. Why are you
Cal,
asking me that?
What's going on here?
Hang on a second while I get your information. You've got my information.
Right. Then the next day, hey, we were just wondering if you want to subscribe to the Oakland Press. And you're like, wow, you are the 10th caller. You won 2 tickets to go see Eddie Money at DTE.
I like how they put out a press release the other day. DTE, they were like, due to popular demand, Eddie Money will be kicking off our season at DTE. It's like, dude, isn't that like a standing gig? Like, that he always does it?
Yeah, they don't have to say by popular demand.
Most of those tickets.
That's a stretch.
Well, most of the tickets for that show are like given away at like, Subway.
Yeah.
You get them as you're like checking out. You buy
kicks it off. We get that.
No, exactly. Dude, I'll never forget. So one time the Palace invited us out to DTE to like hype up their summer. Like, they were like, okay, we're going to have this thing where we invite a bunch of radio stations. So it's all the salespeople that get money from DTE and from the Palace at the time. And then they brought like a couple of DJs with them. So it was like me and like, one of the producers from Drew and Mike. And
Gnip.
Yeah, exactly. Gnip was there. I think Gnip actually went. But yeah. So Gnip is there. Yeah, and we all have to go do this thing. And at one point, I found myself talking to the money man himself because they brought him in because he like lives in Cleveland. Dude had on a pink polo shirt, but not polo brand.
You thought you were talking to like head of
Dude,
like maintenance of DTE.
Exactly. He was struggling to eat a hamburger, and it was dripping ketchup onto his pink
he
shirt.
Hasselhoffed it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was
He
was
Hasselhoffed the burger.
manhandling the burger. And his collar was popped,
course
but
it
he
was.
looked disheveled. Like he looked like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you would think Eddie Money would look.
Right.
Now, I know everyone loves the Money Man, and I know that,
Again.
like, just like a runner side. I don't even know what.
Someone comes up and pinches his muffin top, and he's like, 2 tickets to paradise. Oh,
Give me your best.
pack your bags and you'll leave tonight.
Is that your best Money impression? Give me your best. You have to say just like a Ronnie Size or whatever. Be my little baby. You know that part?
Yeah, and I don't.
This is okay. I'm gonna do my best one. You ready? This is 100% trying too. Just like a Ronnie Size.
Wait, but what are you saying?
I don't know. Just like Ronnie Size. Be my
Wait,
little
just like
baby.
Ronnie Size, or
I think
just like Ronnie says?
I think he's saying just like Ronnie says, but he kind of says, just like a Ronnie Size. Just like Ronnie Size.
Oh,
Does that sound anything like him?
I don't know. I don't. I
Okay,
honestly
so
don't
let me
know.
hit the other song that you know. Okay, ready? 2 tickets to paradise.
That's good.
Pack your
That's
bag,
good.
we'll leave tonight.
Yeah, that's really good. I feel like I'm listening to my iPod right now.
Okay, now
2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bag, then we'll leave tonight.
why does he have a lisp in your
I
version?
don't know. I don't know.
He's got
Everybody has a lisp in my version.
He sounds like CC DeVille was singing. What happened to CC
Hey,
DeVille?
CC, pick up that guitar and talk to me.
What happened to CC DeVille?
Oh, he's still rocking.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's with Poison. Like Poison's coming to, I think DTE this summer.
I'm sure they are.
I think
Brett, okay, can you name everybody in Poison? Go.
Brett Michaels.
Yes.
CC DeVille.
Yep. Keep going. You know it. Keep going.
Ricky Rocket.
Yes. Good job. Okay.
The bass player.
No, is Ricky Rocket the drummer, right?
Ricky Rocket's the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I don't know who the bass player is.
I don't know.
Rick Ocasek.
Is that it?
No, he's from the Cars.
No,
It's
I
a
was
di-
like, no, that doesn't.
I don't know what the. I'm sure it is. Probably rolls off the tongue the same way CC DeVille, Ricky Rocket, and
Brett
Michaels. I bet you Brett Michaels, or at least Brett Michael something, is his real name. It's like, probably like Brett Michael Finkelstein or something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's like totally like really Jewish.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like
Where,
Goldberg.
He dropped it years ago.
Right.
He's like Ixnay on the Finkelstein, okay? It's like, oh, we're gonna call you Brett Michaels. Like just
Right.
like his hair. Like we're not allowed to talk about it. Like
We're not allowed to talk that he always has a headband on.
yeah, always.
The do-rag.
Yeah.
Because his hairline starts about the middle of his cranium.
He's like LeBron James.
Right.
It's just making a run for it. Like,
Yeah.
right, it started out at a normal pace.
Yeah.
And now it's just making a run for it.
Right.
His rapidly receding hairline that he covers up with that sweet do-rag.
But I'll tell you what, man, you pop in. I'll tell you this. I challenge anyone to go on a road trip and not like Poison's greatest hits.
For sure.
You go on a road trip, you pop in Poison's greatest hits.
Yep.
And it is nonstop singing at the top of your lungs, and then at the 45-minute mark, whenever that album stops, you're just like, okay, well, what next?
Yeah, no, I agree
And then
completely.
kind of like, I kind of want to listen through that again.
I have made jokes about Brett Michaels and Poison for years about like Poison, but I'll tell you what, when he goes, ha, give me something to believe in, yeah, I'm like,
All that.
double hands up, give me something to believe in.
All of that. I swear
Mama's Fallen Angel, dude,
Mama's
done.
Yeah, it's all great.
Great.
And the thing is, I think they had like their hands on a crystal ball when they planned that album, because if you listen to it on a car ride, you get going, and right about the time you need to chill, on comes Every Rose Has Its
Dude, that song makes me
Thorn,
like legitimately tear up.
just like it.
Okay, so that's my go-to song for karaoke. Did you know that? Like
No.
anytime I do karaoke, I do Every Rose Has Its Thorn, and every time I pretend I don't know the words.
And you know what that's about, right?
Oh yeah, about dude Tommy Lee, dude.
Yeah,
and
stealing
freaking-
Pamela.
Dude, yeah. Heard you found somebody new, and that I never meant that much to you. To hear that tears me up inside, and see you cut me like a knife.
Like a knife.
But so what I do is
is
when they put it up there, it'll be like ding ding ding, bing bing ding. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
The
you gotta
beginning?
slap the guitar.
Yeah, and so like I always like I'm like looking the other way and like acting like I don't know it's about to start, and then all of a sudden I look into like the closest light. We both lie silent asleep in the dead of the night. It's great, dude. So Poison's greatest hit.
We both lie close together.
You know, people are like, stop singing. I didn't turn this on for you guys to sing.
A few miles apart.
Dude, what's your karaoke song? Is that your karaoke song?
No, my karaoke go-to is usually shoot, what,
Neil Diamond?
No, it's usually
I'll
like
smack you in the mouth.
Huey Lewis, Power of Love.
That's a good one.
That's like my go-to. I love Huey Lewis. Like Huey Lewis is like that. They're that band, Huey Lewis and the News, not just Huey. But those guys are like the band that my parents listened to growing up. So like a lot of memories there. Like we'd go on car trips and listen to all the Huey Lewis albums.
Right, oh for sure.
Cassette tapes.
Yeah,
and all
she would
that
listen
stuff.
to sports.
Yeah.
That was the one that was big for him.
Yep, that one was a great one. And then like the Power of Love.
Yeah,
like
all
I
the
went
Back
to
to the
that
Future
tour.
stuff.
That was the first concert I ever went to. Was Huey Lewis Power of Love tour right after Back to the Future came out. So that was my first concert. All that stuff. So I love Huey. They have a little place in my heart. I do want to go see him this year.
Yeah, you know who I want to see this year who is, I hope, opening, but is definitely playing with Train.
Rob Zombie.
No, Hall & Oates. Hall & Oates. Dude, don't tell me you don't like Hall & Oates,
I'm
dude.
not a Hall & Oates
Dude, are
fan.
you kidding me, dude?
I'm not kidding.
Dude, I was listening on Spotify the other day to Hall & Oates, like greatest hits. Every song is the jam.
No, I know. They do have a good catalog.
And
Man Eater.
yeah, which just has a couple.
Watch out, here to go.
Watch out, boy, she'll chew you up. It's like, what?
Right.
Excuse me?
I'm
me?
sorry.
Excuse me?
I was expecting that out of
Wow.
two upstanding young men.
Yeah, John Oates. They were talking about him on the Chris Rock special, and when I say they, I mean Chris Rock. We don't know what John Oates does. We don't know what he plays, what he sings, what he
Bass.
does. But bottom line, Hall's never had a hit without John Oates, though.
Heck yeah.
Think about it, dude. They go together. They just work.
They do.
And that push broom mustache is legendary.
Yeah.
Two favorite things about John Oates: the push broom mustache that makes him look like Baba Booey from the Howard Stern show.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, and also when he does
Well,
those.
wait, let's go back on this. You can't say one guy looks like a guy that came along later.
Okay, so Baba Booey looks like.
So Baba Booey tries to look like
I don't know that
John
he tries
Oates.
to. I'm sure he tried to. Neither one of them, I don't think, has a mustache anymore, though. Baba Booey doesn't have a mustache anymore.
Oh, no?
No, but neither does John Oates, I think.
But Daryl Hall has a huge, like, Fu Manchu. Goes down halfway down his chest.
to his belly button,
Yeah.
just touches. He thinks if it goes any farther, it's a little obscene. No, but when I think of John Oates, the two things I think of is him doing all like the Hall & Oates stuff, and then him in those. Remember they had those commercials for those speakers that he owned or whatever? Do you remember this?
No.
Okay, so there was these commercials that aired like 5 years ago, not like 15 years ago. And it was like, hey, I'm John Oates from Hall & Oates, and when I'm in my studio, the only thing I like is Sennheiser. Or some random
Oh,
speaker
really?
company that was like trying to go up against Bose.
Oh.
Right? And then out of nowhere, the very next scene is him and like three dudes like Sennheiser, like harmonizing around a microphone, but they all have their
Seriously?
finger in their ears. You know how like in
Yeah.
We Are the World, everyone had to put their finger in their
Exactly.
ear? One earphone
Because you
on.
couldn't, like, if I'm between Bruce Springsteen and Elton John, I don't want to hear those yahoos. So I got to stick a finger in my ear.
I'm going to throw something out there.
Do it. I dare you.
Billy Joel is overrated.
Not true. Not true at all. Billy Joel is phenomenal. As a human being,
He's a piece of garbage.
I hear he's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've heard he's not the greatest guy.
As far as a musical catalog, are you kidding me?
Okay, but I feel like not all of his songs are great. I feel like there's a lot of really good ones. Like Piano Man's great, Allentown's great, but like really,
Uptown
JFK,
Girl?
blown away. What else do I have to say?
Okay, so
I
that
listened
came-
the other day and I was like, really?
Okay,
you
so
like this?
So that one stinks. But I mean, it's still rock and roll to me. Uptown Girl.
Oh, you're saying the whole I Am an Innocent
Captain
Man.
Jack is gonna get you high
Okay.
tonight.
Innocent Man was that record. You're saying that era was good.
No, I'm talking everything. I mean, JFK blown away, but like that might be a bomb. Like that may have been the one that got pushed on radio.
In the middle of the night.
Fantastic, River Dreams. That's a fantastic song.
Okay.
Like I think
Do
Billy
you-
Joel is legit.
Okay, do you have anybody that everyone likes that you think is overrated? You look right at me and go, you
no,
walk out.
I mean, you know me and like my. I mean,
no, I'm saying,
I think so many people.
What about
are-
Pink Floyd? Or
Oh yeah, Floyd and Zeppelin.
you think they're
I
overrated?
can't stand them. See, the crazy thing is I can't stand Led Zeppelin. Can't stand them. However, I love Greta Van Fleet. And
Who sound like them.
Exactly, but I cannot stand Led Zeppelin.
Greta Van Fleet is one of those bands. For everyone that doesn't know and have never heard them before, we'll play, going into the next break, we'll play that as far going into the next segment. They're this band that's from Frankenmuth, who is like taking the world by storm, but not everyone knows them. They're like the coolest unknown band that a lot of people know, if that makes
They're
any
selling
sense.
out arenas. From what I've read,
They're doing
selling
really
out
well.
arena in Europe, but like they'll play like the Shelter, or they'll play St. Andrews here,
but they'll play like the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. Like they'll play something huge in New York and L.A. because people know who they are.
Right.
But you're right; they do sound a lot like
they're phenomenal.
A lot like Zeppelin.
Highway Song, like I love that. In fact, tomorrow I'm getting the vinyl. Like I ordered the vinyl because I've waited and waited. I don't like to order like records from like Amazon or anything like that because the fun of finding a record is going and finding it. So like every week I'll go to the record store and see what they have and see what's in, and I'm always looking for good. And it's been a year. It's been over a year, and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. So
every week I go to the record store and get judged by the clerk behind the counter for my bad taste in music.
No, they love it. I go to Flipside and Clausen for a lot of my stuff, and man, they love it. It just people that know their music.
I used to buy used CDs there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff that, like, again, this was pre-internet, pre-Spotify, where it's like, I have no reason to own the Bed of Roses soundtrack, but I'd like it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's got one song that I saw in the preview or whatever, but I'd buy it for 50 cents and it was good to go. You know what I mean? But then it's one of those things, like you said, you go there, you talk music with people, and that's the thing. That's the one thing I really miss about radio and being on, 80 on X. And on DVD it's a little different, but, like, is just talking music with people.
Right.
Because at DVD, I don't really see a lot of people. I'm kind of there by myself. So, but, it's talking music, talking about what's cool.
And that was me. Like high school, I was entrenched in music, graduated high school.
Because I was in the band.
Right. And for people who hear it, no clue who I am, obviously it's not a big deal. And then after high school, I was in a punk ska band. And we did okay.
You did real well.
We did all right. And so, like, I miss that because now my job has nothing to do with music. And I miss that. And so I love going into Flipside. I'll put, I'll buy like a Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, album. I'll buy a Face to Face album. I'll buy a Dolly Parton album.
Faith No More.
Atreyu. Right. And I put that up on the counter, and the people that I chit chat with each and every week, like, I'm not going in there like buying. Like if I was a customer that they had never seen before, and I went in and I bought like Pearl Jam or I don't know, like they might be like, oh my gosh, like who's this guy? But the fact that they kind of know me, the guys there, we used to play together, and there's a few guys that worked there that knew my old band and their bands that played with my band, and so it's cool because they'll see me like buy a Boss Tones record and then a Dolly Parton, and they're not like what in the world?
But see, that's the thing. I think it's very much in 2018 all right to like all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, back in the day, it used to be like, Dolly Parton sucks, right? Am I right? She sucks. What do you want to put her on? I'll listen, but I'll totally clown on her in my head.
Right.
She's so awesome.
I know.
No, but things like that. I mean, let's face it. The fact that we were able to bring up, Neil Diamond, and we're both like, yeah, he's the best. Like Neil Diamond.
I went and saw him in concert.
He'll smack you in the mouth and mean it, right? Like,
right.
I heard he is the biggest dick you've ever met in your life.
Really?
Yeah, I heard he is a horrible human being. I'm sorry to ruin it for
Seriously?
everybody. Oh, horrible.
Oh, I like Neil.
Well, yeah, but I've heard he's...
I went to his concert at the Palace, and this was maybe a decade ago. I went, and because of the crowd that goes to see Neil Diamond aren't the wildest, craziest youngsters, the sound, like I'm used to going to shows where it's
quiet?
just blaring. You could literally have a conversation and hear, like, people 6 seats down from you could be talking, and you could hear them over the music. Like the people going around like, Coke, you want Coke? Ice cold Coke.
Forever in blue jeans.
And you're like, yeah, I'll take one over here. And just in the background, like ambiance music, like he's up there singing, and it was.
Have you ever seen the Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
That's
I once killed a hobo
to get an erection. Supposedly he pitched a fit, and you can't even find it online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the behind the music. When he says, hey, we wrote these songs with our immense hatred for immigrants. John Goodman says, "Hey, leave me out of this." He says, "No, I'll leave you in. I will leave you in. I'm Neil Diamond. I'll smack you in the mouth."
I used to be number one in this town. It seems like it's more about FM and color TV. I've spent $15,000 on this, so it has to be a big success. This is the one that brings us back.
So I finally got some friends on Xbox Live.
Oh, you did?
I did, yeah. It looks like
Good
I
stuff.
must have been doing something wrong because after we talked about it last time, quite a few people were like, "I asked to be your friend, but you didn't like accept me or follow me back or whatever." And there's actually a couple people that emailed me that says you gave a couple people the Heisman, like you said no thanks.
What?
Yeah, I know that you said you didn't want them to follow you or be friends with them. So here's what I was saying.
Oh, I don't know what I did wrong either. So if they're listening,
I was just going to say, I know for a fact that Joe wouldn't do that. So if you did try to find Joe and found him on Xbox Live, do it again.
Yeah, do it again.
Yeah, and same thing with me because I went on the other night and my son was showing me how to do it. And he's like, "You don't have any." Oh, you do have some people that ask to be your friend or whatever you call it. So I went, so I went on there and I tried to like be a gamer. Like this was going to happen. Like I was going to be cool for a moment.
right.
So I go on and I see that at the time I have 6 friends that are there. And we're playing Fortnite. So I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put myself out there, try to be cool, like gamer guy, and I'm going to ask to like start a party and invite someone who's also playing, also playing Fortnite to be in my party. So I hit the button and like invite this person, I don't know their name, into the party. And all of a sudden you hear, and I'm on a headset. So I hear, "Hello?" And I go, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "Hey, Cal, what's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" He's like, "Good." I'm like, "Ah, man, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, just hanging out, man." And I was like, "Cool. Sorry, I'm not very good at Fortnite." And I'm thinking like somehow I've started a game of Fortnite. He's like, "I'm not playing Fortnite." So now I've just like started a party with like a random dude.
And he's like, "I'm watching Futurama."
No, he's playing a different game. Like called something else. He just he was just on Xbox Live doing something else.
Yeah.
And then I looked like the creep who was like, "Bing, hey bro, what's up?"
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay.
You're like, "You want to hear me make love to my wife?" People are like, "What? What is going on?"
Yeah. So I'm like talking to this guy. And
Yeah.
Dude, he could not have been cooler. I'm not even joking. Like he was like talking about how much he loves the podcast. He likes when you're on. He liked when I was on ADNX. He talked about, different things from my career. And then all of a sudden I realized like, we're not playing a game together. I started this conversation.
You're just chatting it up.
And I don't know why, but I felt like a total freaking creep. So I'm like, I cover the microphone with my hand and I say to my son, "What am I supposed to say?" Now, mind you, I feel like I'm in 6th grade. I called a girl for the first time, and my buddy's telling me, like, feeding me lines, right? Like I'm in Billy Madison where it's like, "Hey, what should I say?" Remember that part in Billy Madison?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, "So where are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm in Grosse Pointe." And I'm like, "Oh, right on. I live in Rochester." He was like, "Cool." Like, again, this guy could not have been cooler, but I think he was equally as confused of.
Well, hopefully he's listening today.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He listens to the podcast, so he's got. Yeah, I just want to say, whomever you are, I am sorry that I was so socially awkward when we got on the mic together, because I thought I was inviting you to play Fortnite with me, but you were already playing a different game. So after I asked where he lives, my son taps me. He's like, "Don't ask him his name. That's like so uncool." Like, you can't. So I was like, okay, cool.
So you're like, "Hey, Raven Slayer, 1983. It's really cool been talking to you."
Exactly. I'm like, "Well, hey, listen, I'm going to let you go because I'm really sorry for interrupting you." And he was like, "Oh, no big deal." Like I said, could not have been cooler. Loves the podcast. He's probably already listened to this by the time, like, I've already said these words. He's listened. Seemed like a totally cool, normal guy. But I just would like to apologize, whomever you are, for being so socially awkward.
Yeah. Well, I just would have hit him with the truth. Like, sometimes the truth is just funny. So, like...
To say what?
Like, when you're in the middle of it, just be like, "Hey, are you playing Fortnite?" And he's like, "No, I'm playing, like, Grand Theft Auto." And then you could be like, Oh, I have no clue what I'm doing, man. I thought I invited you to play Fortnite.
Right.
I don't have a clue what I'm doing,
Right,
man.
exactly.
I'm sorry. And then you get a good laugh out of it, and you just,
Instead of trying to just roll with it like I did.
Yeah, it's kind of like self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
You could just be like, I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
You seem to like Netflix a lot, though. I've noticed every single time I log on to Xbox
well,
Live.
I don't have TV. So
no, but why does it tell me what you're doing, though? Like, I don't know why does it tell the world that you're watching Netflix?
I don't. That's what it does for everybody.
I don't watch Netflix on my
Like,
Xbox
I'll
Live.
turn it on, and my buddy Phil, it'll be like, yeah, Phil's watching Netflix.
What it
does
should
the same thing.
What
to
it
me.
should do is tell what you're watching, though. Right? Like what you're watching.
Right.
You're like,
It'll be like Joe's watching Showgirls. But you can switch it. You can switch it to where it doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell people like what you're doing.
oh, okay. It was just funny because like the last couple times I've gone on there, you're watching Netflix, and my son was like, I think if you hit the button, you can talk to him through his TV.
Yeah.
Like I could be like,
Yeah, you can
hello?
do that. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Elizabeth Berkley?
Hey, this
Showgirls.
this is Netflix talking. I think you watch like way too much.
Have you ever seen?
We're gonna have to charge a few extra dollars a month.
Have
because-
you ever seen Showgirls on television?
Yes, in fact, Showgirls is better to watch
1,000%.
on television than the real one. Like I remember being like a teenager or whatever, and that movie came out, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, you're like, this is
But,
gonna be
like-
awesome, and it wasn't.
And then 15 minutes into it, you're like, I don't care how much gratuitous nudity this has. This is lame.
Yeah.
This is the lamest movie. And then you watch it like on TNT,
it is awesome.
and it is awesome because the computer like animation
Bikinis.
bikinis that they like cover up the girls' top. Because if you haven't seen Showgirls, like 90% of the movie is just topless women.
And the other 10% is some of the worst acting you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And again, like Joe said, if 90% of the movie is nudity, it's got to be really bad that I wouldn't even care to watch it. If
Right.
you said to me, hey, listen, dude, we're going to get together. We're all going to drink some beers and watch Showgirls. And
And I'll give you $100.
I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll skip. I'm going to go home and,
It's like, wow, Cal's moral high ground is really high. It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's just a bad
It's just
movie.
a terrible movie.
Yeah, that and Basic Instinct are the two movies that, like, I thought legitimately about for 3 weeks before I saw. Like, I was like, oh, my mom doesn't know I'm going to see this movie.
right.
I'm such a sinner. And then, like, 5 minutes in, you're like, this is horrible.
Like, this is
isn't
just
worth,
dumb.
Yeah, it's not even worth my time. But, yeah, if you've never seen Showgirls on TV, set your DVR or whatever. Try to find it somewhere. Because what they do, like Joe said, is they show the movie. They bleep out all the swearing. But because there's so much nudity in it, they can't cut entire scenes where people in the background are walking around topless because she's a showgirl, hence the name
Right.
Showgirl. So what they do is they computer animate, like, these bikinis on the girls.
These black bikinis.
But they move with the actresses.
yeah, they move with them and they kind of shake while they're on them, and it's poor. It's poor.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out for sure, though. I
Yeah.
did watch the Ricky Gervais thing, though, on Netflix today. Have you seen that yet? Ricky Gervais has a new stand-up special. It came out today on Netflix.
Oh, no, I didn't see
it. It
that.
is definitely funny. I mean, he takes a lot of shots at people. Are you a Gervais fan?
I love Ricky Gervais, but the issue that I have and with him is I love the British Office. I have all his like audiobooks and podcasts that he used to do when podcasts
You also have the
like
hiccups, apparently.
yeah, when podcasts first came out, like I have all his stuff. Like there's like 20 some or something like that. Like I love Ricky Gervais. The problem is, like I'm a Christian, and he's like a strong like atheist.
He
agnostic.
is?
Oh, he tries to like prove that God doesn't exist, and he clowns.
know
on,
that.
He clowns on Christians like hardcore. Well, that was his first movie he did. His first movie where it was a movie about, I don't remember the name of it, but the movie was, there was a world where there was no such thing as lying.
Oh, there
And,
was that.
and
I never
he
saw
told
that.
the very first lie. And so the movie's really funny. Like you watch it and it's really funny. So there's never been a lie in the world. And then one day he goes to the bank account, or he
I
goes
think
to
I
the bank,
remember this, yeah.
And then he's like, by accident, he wrote like the check wrong. And they were like, oh, are you trying to cash like a $3 million check? And he's like, yes. And they're like, oh, well, our computer system must be wrong because it doesn't show that you have that much money in your account. Well, no one had ever told a lie.
Yeah, I think I have seen this
And
movie.
so it goes from that, and from there it spirals out, and it seems like it should have been a funny movie. But then basically the basis, like, spoiler alert,
for this movie we didn't even name.
yeah, so all the lying, from all his lying, it, like, brings about, like, religion.
Oh.
So, like, I think, like, the crux of the movie is his best friend's mom is dying. And so in a world where nobody lies, it's tough because this woman is dying and your friend is distraught. And so he comes up with another lie like, well, don't worry, she's going to go on.
Oh, so he, like,
and you're going to see her again.
He's trying to pretend like he invents the idea of heaven to make this man
Exactly.
feel
So
better.
that's what that's about.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
He spent like lots of like his. I don't know.
Why
if
would
it
you
was-
do that though? Like, I mean, what's
I don't know.
like that I don't understand. Like, I see what you're saying, and I understand that people have differing points of view, and I think that you can absolutely do that, and in society you're allowed to do that. But I don't think it's really like cool of anybody to try to prove anyone wrong, whether that's God or anyone else.
Right. No, I mean, but he does it like in the. I mean, he's not like Dawkins where he's like out there trying to prove God wrong.
Right.
Maybe I spoke a little out of line there, but like he definitely like takes, like it goes from joking to like that, like two more steps further. Like you go ahead and joke with Christians. Like,
yeah, for sure.
We can all, tease each other about the stupid things and Christian cliches and all that stuff. But like he takes it like a lot farther and you're kind of like, ouch.
Yeah,
that ain't cool, bro.
Yeah, like exactly. You don't have to like totally clown on somebody for what they believe.
To just be like, oh, to me, I love him. I love his comedy, but he's the type of person, and what he kind of puts out there is like, if I ever met him, if he were to know, hey, you're going to meet, Joe Yerke, and he's a Christian, he would completely write me off.
Really?
Like, that guy must be, just out of his mind. He's a sheep. He's all this stuff. Instead of like meeting me, being cool, seeing like, oh, Joe's a pretty, cool guy, and then finding out, you know what I mean?
Right.
That type of deal.
No, yeah. See,
So,
I didn't really know any of this about him, but now all of a sudden I'm,
like I don't think it was
processing
his
it.
first stand up, because I don't think it was his first stand up special, but one of his stand up specials, like half of the thing is the same thing. Like
Oh,
him
really?
just like, he goes through like all of Noah's Ark and just like destroys it and like, clowns on it and all
It
that
is
stuff.
funny though to me how in not even from like the the angle of that people have no problem doing that for Christians, but would
Right.
never do that for Muslims or for Jewish people or for Buddhists or like
or anything. Like just
Yeah.
put the label in.
Yeah. I always
Yeah.
think it's funny. Like I always go back to the the Modest Yahoo days, and I've said this for years. Like Modest Yahoo, and I don't know that he is anymore, was a Hasidic Jew who did rap. Like that
Right.
was his deal. And I remember that there were people who were like, "Oh my God, I guess he doesn't even do shows on the Sabbath because he's just so into being Jewish and whatever. It's so respectable." And then the guys I knew that were in the band Switchfoot, people were like, "They effing suck. They're a Christian band. They're like Striper. Christian bands suck." And it's like, wait a minute. So one person, you respect where they're coming from.
Right.
The other one is a complete fraud and a joke because they're a Christian band.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I never really understood
Yeah,
how.
I
I
don't
feel like it's a
either.
double standard
Yeah,
a bit.
I do too.
Yeah, so.
It's kind of weird. But like Christians, we don't help ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like we stay in our little bubbles and, we.
and get morally offended by anything that happens
Yeah.
and act like you don't do anything
Yeah.
wrong.
And, the Bible tells us not to gossip, and we gossip about everything. And
Right.
so, yeah, I mean, we have a lot of it coming. So,
No, it is just funny, though, with people. Like, anytime you start to run into people where it's like, I'm going to totally try to prove somebody wrong. It's like, dude, I don't think you're doing that for everybody.
right.
Like,
I think
yeah,
you're just trying to make yourself feel good.
Yeah.